coming in as we're talking here.
And let me see. All right, let's go to Biden. All right, y'all, we're about
Yeah,
to
let's
talk
talk
about
about
Biden. We're about to talk about his first 2 days and a host of executive orders. I have heard all the executive orders. My feelings on them are pretty standard neutral, so let's just get into it and divide it up. My name's Heero, that's ET Facts, and we are the amalgamation that makes up the Identity Booth, which our goal is to identify with you all. Eric, what do you just before we dive into it, what are your thoughts on, these executive orders? Like, do you like at the speed that they're coming out? Do you take issue with some of them, or like,
So
are you
yeah,
okay with what his premise so far?
so this is one thing that I enjoyed from the Trump presidency is that he actually wielded the power of the pen. And that was something that we hadn't really seen a president do, honestly, since when? FDR. And again, is established a precedent. It forced President Biden to come in and wield the power of the pen to undo a lot of things that Trump had done and to institute some things that he and his administration want done. Now, for the most part, don't have a problem with the majority of them. What I do have a problem with is the let me go down and I want to read it. Okay, first one, the Paris Accord. I'm not for that. I don't want to join the Paris Accord. I don't like that.
Eric is
But
not a fan of the environment.
no, Eric is a fan of the environment. Eric is too extreme on the environment. Eric wants to move to nuclear power and he wants to move to water, but they are never going to let that happen. And so I'm not going to allow them to virtue signal and gaslight me with the promise of getting off of fossil fuels because I know that it's not happening. That's why we still have troops in Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not fooled by these people, and y'all shouldn't be either. Those are my pet peeves. Um, the one that I want to read it. Oh, here we go. The executive order banning discrimination on the basis of gender identity or sexual orientation. In a move lauded by LGBTQ advocates, Biden order will extend federal non-discrimination protections to members of the LGBTQ community. Being off the landmark Supreme Court's Bostock versus Clayton County, Georgia, last year, they expand protections against discrimination based on sex in federal agencies and to include sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. First of all, no one cares. What a I honestly,
What?
the fact that no one. Okay, well, here's this. That's not fair. Normal, reasonable human beings don't care.
No, Eric, stop. Say you
No,
don't
no, no, no,
care.
no, 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 no,
Eric,
no, 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 no. No, you're not hearing what I'm saying. We
okay.
don't care how you choose to live your life. We're gonna treat you the same way because you're a human being, and we're decent human beings, giving decency to human beings. There is a small, in my opinion, fringe group of people here, like Ken we saw earlier, harassing the Arabic guy, the Muslim guy, is a small fringe group of these idiots running around out here that care how you dress and who you go to bed with. Us regular people don't care. We don't care. The fact that and I guess my problem is not a problem. It's just upsetting that he had to wield the power of the pen to get people to just be civil. So I guess it's more of a rant than anything. The only other one that I legitimately had a problem with was the thing that he did for the women's sports thing. That troubled me quite a bit, only because to me it seems like it's the end of women's sports. The reason why is because now transgender people who may not have been successful in one gender identity sport is now going to another gender identity sport where they have an apparent advantage, like physical advantage, the majority of them. They have way more muscle mass. They have way more testosterone naturally running through their bodies that has gotten them to the physical stature that they currently are. Whether they're on hormone blockers or not, they have already reaped a lot of the physical effects of testosterone and the extra cholesterol and the extra muscle mass and the thicker, stronger, more dense bones. This is not good. It's not good. And the thing that was set up to help make things equal is only exacerbating a problem. Because now the cisgendered women, what do they do? How do they compete?
You know,
How do they compete?
there was actually a valid conversation about this, and I'm gonna admit, like I know that this is wrong, but I'm also of the same belief that saying they should just have a league of their own. It's similar to how men and women separated. They should have a league of their own. But there was a real live argument about this that I really had to be compelled with. As a person who got a full ride scholarship to play in college based on my high school performance, could you imagine now going to a college and trying to explain I am a great woman athlete, but I am performing in a transgender league, and I came in third place behind two transgender women.
Hold on, Hero. Now a lot of people on the left say a trans woman is a woman, so you just
I
have to
mean,
call her a woman.
you can say whatever you want to, but I'm still a scientist at heart.
Yes, all right. I'm with you.
My logical mind. I'm not, and my logical mind isn't here to discriminate against you. My logical mind is here to tell truth to truth. I don't believe in the Big Bang Theory. I believe of evolution. I believe it was a process. I didn't believe that a man came down and gave us a rib and stuff. That's all great if you do, but you're not here to impress me. That's your story. So further to that point, I have simple questions to dictate how things. It's not going to challenge the way I treat you, but it still needs to be information I can use to properly assess you. Example: if I'm giving someone a liver transplant, well, women's physiology explains that they don't have certain body parts that males do. So I have to be innately aware that these body parts are going to be there when I'm cutting into you, because if I don't, you will die.
Okay, so let me piggyback on your story. So when Hero and I were working together, the reason why you bring this story up, because we actually had this situation. We had a transgender. It was a transgender man who on ID was male, all his documents were male. But when we got down to physiology, we discovered it was a woman. So what we did is we were trying to find a home for the heart, liver, kidneys, And you know what happened? People who thought they were going to get a transplant didn't get a transplant, because you have to identify with the gender you were assigned at birth. If you do not, it affects the recipient. So crazy thing is, guess what? A person gets a phone call that they're going to get a heart transplant, only to find out 12 hours later that I'm sorry, you're not. You know how crappy that first of all, you know how crappy that feels for us having to tell the family that this isn't going to happen. All because people are wanting to deny science. You can feel however you want. Maybe Hero, that's the point you're getting at. I don't want to speak for you. I'm going to just savor myself. I don't care how you feel. I don't care what you wear. I'm going to treat you how you want to be treated. I'm going to call you what you tell me to call you. At the end of the day, the science still got to be the science. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and once again, that's not going to change the way I treat you outside. If you're a transgender man and you want to be addressed as a man, he, him, sure, not a fucking problem. Hey, bro, what's good? I'll chest bump you and everything. But my whole thing is, you can't allow this idea of you to be inherited or forced on someone else that has to do with a life-saving or a general alteration of their life. If I have to change my perspective, my way of life, or somehow have to take an L because of your life, that's called infringement at that point. Because that discussion right there really drew me out of it. I was like, wow, she had a full ride scholarship and she got a partial because she didn't place in state. And I was just like, she's not mad. In fact, I admire her for not being angry, because she was like, I'm happy that she finally got to play in a sport where she feels she belongs. So I was like, man, my heart goes out to you. But I think there needs to be further discussion. And if there doesn't need to be a discussion, just make a league for them, a league of their own. I would be perfectly fine watching transgender people.
But they would consider that discrimination, Heero.
No, they wouldn't. You don't consider it discrimination for men and women. You don't discriminate. We have a lingerie league and we have an NFL. No one's
but
ever.
Okay. So this is what I'm telling you. This is what
we're chasing a rabbit here.
What's going to happen? We're going to have women petitioning to go play men's sports.
But okay, and to the point of this, we already have women showing up in the college ranks for football already. The kicker.
She literally kicks the ball and runs off the field, so nobody freaking flatlines her.
I mean, but if she wanted to run down there and tackle someone, she could, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with those things happening, but let's just make sure that it's happening equally. Let's make sure it's happening across the board.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Hold on.
Let's stop with this, because we're gonna end up chasing the rabbit. Like we're here to talk about Biden's executive orders.
I mean, but this is related to the executive order.
Yeah, but we're chasing the rabbit. Like
we'll make and I think you already know what question I'm going to ask you, so we can come back to that. We'll do that offline. If we get to 280, you guys can come in and call in, and we can talk about it.
Yeah. One thing I did want to point out though is Biden's Keystone Pipeline, the one he's canceling. And
I know you wanted to talk about that.
And the reason why I'm happy that this is being canceled is because of two reasons. Because of Heather, I wanted to call her Heather Heyer, but that's the lady that was ran over by the white supremacists in Oregon. Her name is escaping me, but she lost her arm while protesting the Keystone Pipeline, and this was back in 2018. And thanks for closing this, because as virtuous as Canada claims to be, they were the big components trying to keep this open.
Yeah. Did you see Kevin Trudeau? He came out. He was upset that
go fuck yourself, blackface.
Yeah,
go fuck yourself,
bro. Yes, nobody fool at the identity booth. We don't fool with Trudeau. He can stay his white behind on up there. We don't got time for him.
Yeah, like. There's going to be 1.7 million jobs lost. No. That's a consecutive number. 1, 2. Once the pipeline's over, no one's going to need to be there. 3. This pipeline has been leaking oil and fucking up the environment ever since its inception. Literally, 1% of the population of Native Americans who lived within a 30-mile radius has been eviscerated.
Yep.
The uncontrollable amount of greed that it took. And I'm going to say this, and I'll say this likely. Nebraska's prop order signed to have the shit done. I voted against it clearly. But all those orders are now going to the dirt, and I can't wait to see them in court, because the Supreme Court justice that was started under Obama's sent it back down to the states' issues, and these were blue states with Republican judges allowing shit to happen. The mindless self-indulgence to sit here and try and destroy the environment while you actively trying to join the Paris Accord. Good on you, Biden, for canceling this out. This is nothing.
So let me ask you a question to follow up with here, because I have slightly mixed feelings. I agree with everything you said, but here's the one question, and I did not think of this until I was watching Tim Pool, and he posed the question. He says, is it more green to transport the oil, minus the leaks, if there were no leaks? Is it more green to transport the oil via pipeline or via tankers that emit toxic fumes into the environment? What's more green?
I mean, more green would be a working pipeline.
Okay, so would you be okay with the pipeline if there were no leaks, if it functioned properly, and it did not decimate the communities in which it was in?
But that's a if, and we know why it's a if, because do we know why
it hasn't happened? Because it hasn't happened ever.
Not only that, you want to know the reason why the pipeline would have never existed in the first place? Because the Army Corps of Engineers didn't get to make their own evaluation. Can you imagine? Like, so they knew that if the Army Corps of Engineers saw this, they would be like, no, this is never going to work. But they said, we're not going to ask them. We're still going to use the American tax dollars and try and pollute their communities. And because you want to know another reason why I know this one? This pipeline was actually supposed to go through an Iowa City. But it made a $2 billion detour around Iowa City to avoid it. Want to know why? Because they knew that this pipeline would never work. And we can't fuck up the place that starts the primaries for the elections. Oh, no. It's the hypocrisy. It's the bullshit. Tim Spool can come up with whatever random bullshit question. The fact is, this would have never worked. It was never designed to work. This is a push to get us off of the oil. Want to know why? Because if you drive through Iowa like I've done, unfortunately, multiple times, you'll see nothing but wind farms. It is ran 33% on wind farms. That needs to be our push.
I say that we need to move the water. That's my thing. I am definitely with the wind, but we have water technology that General Motors and Ford have bought and suppressed because they knew it would put them out of business. Water falls from the sky. It pops up from the dirt. They have no way to control it. You can buy a large humidifier and pull moisture out of the air and bottle it. They are afraid. I'm talking about... And one day we'll go over this because we definitely need to dig more into, green energy sources and renewable energy sources versus this whole petroleum thing. It's been past time to get off this. Heero and I definitely identify with each other there. The means by which we do that, we probably disagree to some extent, but all the more, like, first of all, what do y'all think in the comment section? And secondly, Heero, is there anything that we can do right now to reduce, how much petroleum we're using? That's my big issue. Carbon emissions, and not concerned with that.
And this is another bill. Within the next 3 years, all federal vehicles have to be transferred or converted to electrical engine. And I would love to see this on a state-to-state issue. I think our buses should be ran on electric. I think any of these cabs...
No, wait a minute. A lot of our buses run on natural gas right now. Do you say you don't even want natural gas? You just want electricity?
It's hurting the environment. It's hurting
natural gas.
Yes, I mean when it's converted, it's converted to CO2.
Okay, yeah, okay. But so here's my thing though. We have you looked into the HHO technology? I know I've mentioned on here before, but I mean that I get it. These are volatile compounds and they have to be, but we have the science to be able to make this work. Hydrogen cars. We know this worked. It fizzled out. The reason why.
It's hydrogen. That is literally what is used to make bombs. Like we can't, you cannot account for impact. We saw with those Hindenburg balloons. Could you imagine 27 of those on a highway? Like the reason why electric.
Okay, so this is how it works though. So it's an electrolysis process. So it's basically getting, by the time it's broken down through the electrolysis process, it's actually already in the engine being combusted, and the way that it is, so it's not entirely petroleum free. They have cars that can do that, but we basically using less fuel. Because you have to actually mix it in to get the car to run really extremely lean on the petroleum.
But to your point, Eric, there's one.
Or you can make biodiesel and use that and convert automotives to biodiesel.
But there's one that doesn't have it at all, and it's actually.
But we have to dig. We have to dig in the earth for lithium to be able to make these batteries. So it's like picking your poison.
Lithium,
how much of that? How much lithium will we have to mine to be able to get the entire world off of petroleum?
We're not worried about the world. We're worried about America.
Okay,
right now.
U.S. Let's say just for the U.S. How many cars are in the U.S.? I don't know. Let's just say it's one car per human. We know it's more than that. It's 330 million cars.
All right.
We know it's probably double that. But I'm just saying.
All we need is 2/3 of the population. We don't need everybody. And we could get the whole entire federal government's mobile fleet on electric. That's already knocking out a huge dent in it. Furthermore, the infrastructure, which is why I'm happy he's immediately talking about making it into an infrastructure thing. Also, removing any budget that was being used or pulled towards the border wall, which includes, but not limited to, the Army National Defense Fund was being used for that. The same funds that are used to help veterans build off-site homes was being used for that. The border wall was a complete disaster. They didn't finish it. That's the number one thing he promised his people. They didn't get it. Mexico didn't send me no goddamn check. You got played.
Yeah. Okay, so here, I don't have a problem with what you're saying about making it an initiative. But instead of in accordance with what he's doing, why didn't we take money away from the military budget? Why is the military budget dang near $1 trillion? Why do we need that much money going into the military? Why can't we take 5-10%? Cut that. Literally, we could solve poverty in America with 1 or 2% of the military budget. The entire of America could get out of poverty. We wouldn't have any more homeless, no more childless people, with just single-digit percentage points of the military budget. The military-industrial complex is what we're seeing in full effect in our government for the last 40, 50 years. And this is why we're having it. Yes, and we could pay off all the student loans. We could get people free college. If we had a legitimate reduction to the military budget. Who are we fighting? Why do we need to do
Who
this?
are we fighting? Who is so threatening to us in this country that we are fighting them? Who are we fighting?
The thing is, we are propping up. I'm not gonna go down that road. Here's the thing that I'll say, because I'm gonna start naming countries, and we really gonna get shadow banned. We're gonna get outright flagged if I start going down that road. So here's the problem. What we do with that money is we manufacture military goods and services to sell to the highest bidder around the world. That's actually what we're doing. That's all I'm gonna say about that. We don't actually have an enemy. The enemy is an idea, and it's used to trick Americans into being afraid, forfeiting their rights in order to be surveilled. You American citizen are the new terrorists. That's why they locked you down for 9 months, pandemic or not. You are the terrorist. They love putting you on TV for going out in the streets. They like beating you with batons. They like spraying you with mace. They like hitting your knee in the back of your leg with a flashlight until your will is broken and you acquiesce. You are the terrorist. That's what I'm saying. We don't actually have an enemy. As a country, as a citizenry, we don't have a foreign enemy, a foreign invader. We have our enemy right here. And they just keep sucking money away. That military budget, who's paying for that? We're on the hook for that. Oh, I'm just saying. I hear you, Nafi, saying that the military budget is off limit. You said Japan and Russia are our enemies. They are not our enemies. And if you believe the stuff you're getting from the government, oh my goodness, I'm sad. I'm saddened by that. But anyway, it must be good talking because Heero ain't even interjected. I'm just saying.
For me, I'm of the mindset that America does have enemies, but America's biggest enemy is itself. There's no knocking that. Like,
yeah.
But the thing that I can bring up into this topic is I am happy about some of his executive orders that revolve around the pandemic and COVID-19. So he had a press conference today where he talked about getting 300 million Americans vaccinated by this time next year, with 100 million in 100 days. I think he's 93 days out, and he's already up to 450,000 people. So he's well on his way to conquering this goal. Another thing that I am very happy to see is by day 3, he had all this information compiled up, right? and you guys can check out this article, and it'll be in the description below. But he had 3 weeks, easily 4 weeks worth of executive orders that he could have used to control the narrative for 3 weeks, and he did this all in 3 days. And I want to commend him for that because, one, it's not about the look, the persuasion factor, controlling a narrative. It's about getting shit done. People are dying out there, and the Biden administration doesn't really care about the theatrics. They want to get shit done. He made it clear to Bernie Sanders, who is the head honcho now of the pocket, the coin purse of the Senate, that if you need to take drastic measures to get the budget under control and get the stimulus checks out to people, Bernie Sanders, do it. And you know Bernie Sanders will love nothing more than to give a bunch of people money. Biden also is giving out $15 minimum for all federal jobs this summer. To hell with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's 2025 resolution. Go fuck yourself. Because they're showing, and it might be because they didn't update the draft that they wrote from 2019, but there are Democrats who are not interested in theatrics, and I'm okay with that. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi got their work cut out for them because Bernie Sanders has the coin pocket now. And I can't wait to see what Bernie Sanders does with that shit. But, you know, that is the story. There's a bunch of shit that he's done, so I'm happy to see it. But yeah, that was a story. That was our topics. We'll probably definitely have to come back and deep dive some of these very interesting topics. But
yes, we will.
For right now, Eric, where can they find us? Because that was the end of that segment.
Man, they can find us right here on YouTube. The Identity Booth. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, set it to all so you can get all of our updates and when our videos are going to drop. Then you can go down there, swim in that comment section, hit that like button. I mean, if you rocking with it, and if you're not, go ahead and hit that dislike button. We like those too, and then tell us why you don't like it.
We got a video that has 21 dislikes, and I love it.
And we love it. You know why? Because now we go back and watch our content, and then we double down on it. So yeah, and on top of that, you know, we also find us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. You can find us on TikTok. I be on a TikTok. So yeah, Heroes like, Eric, you got that. You can do that. I'm not doing, you know, the spot 'em got 'em Junebug dance. But you can go ahead and do that. So y'all might be catching me hitting the Junebug real quick on TikTok. We also on Instagram at The Identity Booth, Twitter at The Identity Booth. So we're like Visa, we everywhere.
We everywhere. And I don't know if we hit our goal yet, but we're trying to get to our goal so we can get these phone lines open. Some people want the phone lines open, but that's just send this to somebody in your phone right now. Just text them and be like, hey, just subscribe to the channel real quick. Just send it to somebody. Because sharing it on social media isn't enough anymore. So send it to somebody. Send it to your boo. Nafi, if your boyfriend isn't subscribed to the channel, he's never gonna receive my blessing. So you better subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, you're not. I said, tell him these subs are messing up your money dance.
Yeah, he's not gonna get my blessing. But
seems like every night, don't care who's wrong or right. I hope the end is sight. Slow it down and we can catch the vibes.